Alright, this video is about converting the equation of a parabola from something that's close to general form to standard form. And this is a request from my YouTube channel. So here we go. First of all, standard form is like this. You can have y minus k squared is equal to 4p times x minus h squared. This is the model that we're using, except obviously there won't be h and k. These will be actual numbers, like maybe it would be y minus 7 squared is equal to, let's say, negative 12 times x minus 3. This would be an example of a parabola written in standard form. Okay, so that's our goal, is to make it look like this. So notice I have one side is squared and the other side is not. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to flip this equation around, because I like having the squared part on the left. So if I rewrite this equation like this, 3y squared plus 6y minus 5 is equal to x. Now the squared part is on the left, just like my model, and it makes me feel better. Ultimately, I'm going to complete the square. So the first thing I need to do is I need to move the negative 5 over to the other side by adding 5 to both sides. So now I'm going to have 3y squared plus 6y, leave a space here, is equal to x plus 5. Okay, now when you have a coefficient in the front like this, you need to factor that outside of parentheses. So I need to bring that 3 outside of parentheses. Okay, and that's going to leave behind y squared plus 2y. And I'm still saving this space. Okay, so obviously I got this 2 by dividing by 3. In fact, when you pull a 3 out front, you're dividing all of this by 3. So now I have this. So now it's time to complete the square. So I need to find the number that goes here. And my thought process is half the middle squared. So if I take half of this 2, I'm going to get 1. And then if I square it, I'm going to get 1. Alright, so 1 is the number that completes the square. Again, it's half of the middle, but then you square it. So that's the number that completes the square. Now, I have changed the left side of the equation. So I need to change the right side of the equation in the same way to balance out the change I made on the left. Now, it looks like I added 1 on the left. So you would think I would add 1 on the right. But I didn't really add 1. Don't forget about this 3 that's out front. Imagine you were to do the distributive property to get rid of the parentheses. You would wind up multiplying 3 times 1. So this, what looks like a 1, is actually a 3, because it's 3 times 1, because of this 3 out in the front. So in effect, I made the change of adding 3 to the left side. So to balance it out, I need to add 3 to the right hand side. Okay, that's the trickiest part for students to understand. So just understand, when there's a number out front, it looks like you're adding a 1, but you're really adding 3 times 1. So that's why I had to put a 3 on the right hand side. Now, the point of completing the square is that when you factor, you will get the same thing twice. Okay, over here I have x plus 8. If I factor this, y squared is going to be y times y. 1 can only be 1 times 1. And then so it'll be y plus 1 times y plus 1. Alright, anytime you complete the square, when you factor, you're going to get the same binomial twice. And that enables you to do like this. Y plus 1 squared, okay, is equal to x plus 8. See how we're getting closer and closer to this? Alright, I had that y minus k squared, and here I have y plus 1 squared. We're getting closer and closer. So in fact, there's really only one step left. For standard form, you don't want a number in the front. So all I really need to do is divide both sides by 3. So if I divide this by 3, and I divide this by 3, okay, that way these will cancel out. Alright, so now that's going to give me y plus 1 squared equals. Now, how can I write this in a way that looks as much like this as possible? So I want to keep the x plus 8. I don't want to mess with that. So x plus 8, I'm going to leave that the way it is. But this dividing by 3 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/3. So I can take this 1 over 3 and put it in the front. Okay? Hopefully you can see that these are the same. Having 1/3 times x plus 8 is the same thing as x plus 8 divided by 3. These are the same. Okay? But writing it this way with the 1/3 in the front matches my standard form. And that's it. This would be the final answer. Okay, so for example, I could tell you things like, what's the vertex? The vertex is the h comma k. Alright, and this is the h and this is the k. Alright, so in this case, my h is -8 and my k is -1. Alright, notice how I had to do the opposite sign, but this is my h and this is my k. Because it's plus 8, it's really a -8. Because this is plus 1, it's really a -1. So there's my vertex. Alright, but that's it. Here we've written the problem in standard form.